Jordan Pectyo on the mulligan to 5. Who are you?
He got the buy, so I have to play Legacy with him. I want to, actually.
Jordan managing to find lands in his mulligan to 5.
Sorry.
You're fine. And Mustang, oh my goodness. I don't know if Jordan's mulligan to 5 could be better for him as he has a turn 3 Ragemonger. And there's a Disciple pass by Chris. I don't know what that other 2-drop is that he played. I think it's the Bestow guy. Jordan playing the Hag. The 4-mana 3/2. I was big on this card whenever we were looking through his deck. I think it's extremely powerful. Anytime that Chris wants to draw a card, he's going to have to lose 1 life. And here comes a flyer down on Chris' side, it looks like. I think that's the 3/2 flyer. So neither player able to attack. Here is a Ragemonger, not a Ragemonger. A 4/2 haste that Jordan only has to pay 2 for, thanks to his Ragemonger. That's going to come into play. Attack. Chris not going to block. Chris goes down to 14 off the trigger. And if Jordan didn't catch that, I'm not going to remind him. Because it's a creature that he controls. There he goes. Prerelease not as serious as the Pro Tour. So, Chris marking down his life total correctly. Chris playing the Tap Your Dudes and Frost Breath him for a turn. Getting to Scry. So now he's swinging in for 4. Jordan only going to have access to his 2/2 next turn. Looks like Jordan dropped down to 14, so he must have taken an attack for 6. Both players trading blows here early. Jordan throwing out the 2-mana 2/1. Chris drawing a card and losing his life. This Hag is very taxing on my actions here in the booth. So Chris playing a removal spell. Oh, that is the 4-mana enchantment. Give a creature -3/-2. So going to kill his 2/2 and trade off with the 2/1. Then Jordan going to take another 5 damage down to 9 life. Chris looking somewhat ahead in this game. But Jordan's going to lash him and then attack with his Ragemonger. Lash of the Whip giving the flyer -4/-4. And as the board stands, I don't know which player's ahead. Chris obviously ahead in cards, as Jordan had mulligan to 5, but Jordan functioning very well off this mulligan to 5. Easy on the links there in chat. Gatherer links are obviously fine, but I don't want it to be thought that you can just go about willy-nilly, as we get a mnemonic wall. And I assume that the tap spell was bought back with the mnemonic wall. We're representing a trick with a Ragemonger, as you usually don't attack into a 3/3 with a 2/3. Titan Strength going to make it a big enough guy to kill it and big enough on the butt to survive. Chris going to lose a life whenever he draws a card from the Hag. That Hag has done a lot of damage this game. So Chris left with a Mnemonic Wall, and we know he has the 4 mana tap your dudes, the 4 mana Frost Breath basically in his hand. Trying to figure out what his sequence is going to be on this turn. And he plays the 2 power flying Raptor. Chris's deck has a lot of creatures with flying in it, and a lot of tempo based cards like this Frost Breath. He has Griptide, he has Voyage's End. He's very, very good if he gets out ahead early. Jordan managing to draw all of his pinpoint removal spells when he needs them. So an attack for 5. No profitable blocks on Chris's end. That SIP dropping him down to 7. And that has to be a killer, as Jordan was obviously just needing that 6th land for that SIP that was in his hand. Jordan's last 3 draws have been very, very good, as they were Titan Strength, a land at some point, and a SIP of Hemlock. And we're just going to chump the Hag, go down to 5 life. And we cast Divination, and the Hag shocks him. So it looks like Chris is going to Griptide and pack it up here. Oh, nope. We got 1 draw step left. We Frost Breath in last turn to survive. So Jordan getting there. I definitely have the possibility of cursing. Take these beautiful ads off. And that is called Sudden Storm. It's that Frost Breath card. Action underway as we see Chris hit his first 2 land drops. Jordan play his 1 mana 1/1, I think. Either way, it drops Chris down to 19 life as I struggle to find my mouse cursor. Chris goes with a Disciple, doesn't block, as Jordan, representing a number of tricks, activates the Disciple, and if you're not going to block with it, you're usually going to attack with it. So we see him get in for another 1. Weight of the World. Giving that creature -3/-2. Not quite going to kill him. And we saw Chris have bounce in his previous game, so that's not the permanent solution to this card, but it is going to stop him from attacking at this point and make any. Okay. This card is very confusing. I'm going to read the rules text on this card. I know what this card does. If an opponent casts a spell, you can exchange control of this spell that Chris just played. It's a 5 mana 3/3. So anytime that Jordan casts something like a Titan Strength, Chris can give him his 3/3, and then Chris now controls said Titan Strength. And then obviously Jordan controls this 5-mana 3/3 and can do it back to Chris anytime he wants to. This card is called Perplexing Chimera, and it could not be more accurately named. Good luck to anybody trying to play it with. As Chris gets excited about his land drop, good luck to anybody playing with, against, or commentating about this card. Attack with my 3/3, Lash of the Whippet. So what? we can give Jordan this 3/3, and then Lash of the Whip the 3/3. Oh, this is a funny card. I think this just happens. I think this just resolves. Uh-oh. Chris not thinking so. Yes. So what just happened is Chris exchanged control of the 3/3 for Lash of the Whip to Lash of the Whip, Jordan's 1/1, and then Chris bounces the 5-mana 3/3 back to his hand that was in Jordan's control. So now Chris has his 3/3 back. Jordan doesn't have any creatures, and he can play it safely around Lash of the Whip. Wow, that card is very fun, it looks like. So Chris added a Coastline Chimera to his board, and that 3/2 flyer that we saw last game. Jordan playing the 5-mana 3/3 that has a tribute of 2. Now, tribute is whenever this card enters the battlefield, your opponent can give it 2+1/+1 counters. If it doesn't, this specific card deals 5 damage to your face. And then end of turn, Chris is going to Bow Blight it, give it -3/-3 until end of turn. So Chris not paying the tribute, Jordan getting a Lava Spike in of sorts, but also makes Chris get rid of that Bow Blight that he had in his hand. Still no board for Jordan. Chris going to be able to serve in for 4. And Chris definitely ahead here. Yes, he adds the Perplexing card back to his side of the board. Chris down to 11 after that Lava Axe to the face. And there's the Hag. We saw what happened last game. So this is the 5-mana 1/1 that has tribute. The tribute on this card is Mind Control one of your dudes. So whenever this card enters the battlefield, your opponent gets the choice of either mind controlling, getting one of his creatures mind controlled, or you get to put 3+1/+1 counters on it, which is what Jordan did, giving Chris a 4/4 flyer for 5 mana, not too shabby. And then swinging in for 4 damage, dropping Jordan down to 9. More importantly, getting Jordan closer and closer to death. Chris very close to sealing this game up, as Jordan has not found a lot of creatures to go with the high amount of lands that he has. Yes, Gray Power Van. That is the specific text on the card. It says you can choose new you can choose new targets for the copy for the Perplexing dude. So the Lash of the Whip that was targeting the Perplexing guy obviously gets changed to whatever Chris wants to change it to. Jordan trying to figure out what to do here. Jordan's still trying to figure out what to do here. And it's way too late to be representing a combat trick, I would think. But we're swinging in with our 4-mana 3/4 anyway. And we're just going to chump it with this useless Disciple. Post-combat Cyclops. That's what that card is, right? Yep. So post-combat Cyclops looks like Chris is going to be able to wrap it up here. So he loses his 1 life from the Hag. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 power with flyers in the air. And I think we just serve in with all of them. And then we can block with the Chimera next turn. Oh yeah, I'm an idiot. This is why I'm setting in the booth, folks. And why a booth is not in the booth. Why would you ever attack with your 1 power flyer whenever you can leave it back to block next turn? Dropping Jordan down to 2. Chris adding a Triton Fortune Hunter to his board. I don't know what Jordan has that can stop 3 flyers. I guess that's the argument. If you're going to follow up with a Triton Fortune Hunter, you might as well attack with your 1 power guy. That way, he's lethal on his own next turn. In case Jordan does come up with 2 removal spells. You saw a sip last game. But as we know, Jordan has very little removal in his deck. I think the sip is the only thing that he has left. I think the only other non-creature spell is Joint Forces, which he has in his hand, along with another mountain, a Titan Strength, and I think another creature. Attack with these 2. And this is where it gets fun. We have a perplexing dude in play, and we're going to make you use a combat trick. So guess what's going to happen? Oh, this is beautiful. So it looks like we're giving our guy +2. Which is going to be enough to kill the Chimera. I don't know why this is important, or what Jordan's posturing for here. But regardless, we get to see a fun interaction with Chimera, as Chris now tries to figure out if he wants to exchange control or not. Quite honestly, I think if you're in Jordan's team now, you realize that this is a losing proposition, that you just showed your opponent a combat trick. As we're going to give this control, and nothing's going to happen except for your Hag's going to die.
Zach, we got a question.
Ooh. Neat interaction coming up. If we redirect the spell off our perplexing guy, do we get a trigger off our heroic Triton Hunter? I'll be back in just a minute to tell you guys. I too wanted to know if I can check it out. So these are 4, 2.
I mean, if you choose two targets, every target.
Choose new targets, yeah. So what happened there? Jordan, Jordan just blowing all of his combat checks. But for those who want to know, Jordan blowing all of his combat checks. I don't know what this accomplishes. But regardless, whenever you redirect the spell off your perplexing guy, you get the heroic trigger. That darn Lolicon. Okay, nice name. It's only 3 rounds because it's a midnight pre-release. I held myself back from saying frickin' midnight pre-release. But it's a midnight pre-release, man. We ain't having no 4-round tournament with a cut to top 8. I don't know if you've ever been up it. Alright, we're back. Game 3. Jordan on the play. Starts off with an off-color temple. Trust me, kids, that's just for scrying. Chris matching him back with a blue-black. With blue-black land of his own. So both players, well, Jordan missing black. Jordan playing the all my dudes get trampled, none of your dudes get trampled, dude. Guy. There's a cycle of those for each color. There's the black source for Jordan.
Get some good games.
Had some very good games. Jordan won on Mulligan to 5 in game 1.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's limited.
Also, Chris cast Divination whenever Jordan had the hag in play that deals with damage.
I mean,
he was at 4 life.
it's bad. Read the bones.
As Jordan, wow, Jordan plays the haste Minotaur that comes in as a 4/2 and then turns into a 2/2.
So Jordan played red, black, and standard, and red, black, and...
Yeah, really showing his range here. But Paladin for 7 damage on turn 4. And giving our guy +2/+0 and first strike. And Chris going to get to keep his disciple. Bounce the haste guy back to his hand. How's that feel? So now he's going to have to face down a 4/2 haster next turn. That has trample. There's a width of variables.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Do you have Gary?
No,
Really? Ah, that sucks.
he just has like 50 flyers in his
I'll
deck.
be disappointed. Gary's a common, like, I don't know.
Oh, and Jordan just decides to play 2 of those 2/2 haste. It becomes 4/2.
Why not? Ugh. That's ugly.
Yeah, so we negate that. We take the 4 here, and then we take the 1 trample over, as our guy only had 3 toughness.
Well, he had lifelink, didn't he?
Yeah, he gained 3.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. So Chris basically took the 4 off this guy. I'm pointing like the internet can see that. The 4 off this guy. The 4 off this guy, or the 1 trample off this guy, and then the lifelink negated this guy's damage.
Yeah, I haven't been here long enough to realize the life too.
Or they're pretty low for 1 player.
What is that?
That looks like some kind of sea monster. That looks like the promo.
Is it? I just played against the promo. I don't remember.
I don't know
It
what
might
it is.
be.
It's a big
If it
dude.
is, it's a 4/5.
It's a big
Jordan
dude that
doesn't
has
care.
lifelink,
Jordan says YOLO.
and I'm pretty sure Chris is just dead here.
Well, I mean,
Unless Jordan didn't.
for life.
Unless
That's
Jordan didn't
regardless.
realize that this creature has lifelink.
Yeah. What could he have?
Well, Chris doesn't have anything.
I mean, what could Jordan have? Just-
Okay. So that's going to get in for 2 damage. So this creature's going to die. And we're going to let them figure out how much tramples over. So Chris going to come out 2 life ahead in that exchange, but without a big fat creature on board. Still able to whip one back. And there's a Prerelease. Your Whip of Erebos meets my Prerelease, God of the Forge.
That's amazing.
Yes, that's a foil Prerelease.
Really?
There are 2 foil Prereleases open tonight. Yes.
By who? Both short.
One of Joe, I think Joe Messer's friend.
Did you see, I can't remember who it was. They opened the pack and it had a Reaper of the Wilds and a foil Reaper of the Wilds.
It's not bad.
Green-black's pretty good too. It's a good color combination.
It's a very good color combination in sealed, especially.
The best removal and the best creature. Well,
You're right.
I mean, you could
The
argue
most
that blue has some
the
pretty
most
good
efficient
removal.
creatures,
There you go.
and it has access to the most removal spells. As it does get removal spells at common. And there's a flyer. That's the mind control guy.
What did you just do?
And then Jordan's going to lash it.
So, -4.
So he has a 4/4 flyer that Jordan just -4s. If you don't pay the tribute, he gets control of one of your creatures.
Right.
So Chris up against it here. He can gain some life this turn. Jordan, 3 mana symbols away from being able to attack with his Prerelease, and I don't think he has a 3 red spell in his deck.
You can just pump that dude like crazy.
Yeah. Chris dropped down to 5 last turn as Jordan had to whip it.
That 4 cost 3/3 vigilant that you can pay 3 and give your creatures +1/+0. It's nutty.
Yes.
Oh my lord.
Okay, so here's some action out of Chris. Whips back the mind control guy. Jordan does not let him take control of one of his creatures. And Chris is just going to swing the life totals by a total of 8. Dealing 4 and gaining 4 himself. So if Jordan has 2 creatures here, he might be able to turn on this Prerelease. Jordan's deck has some reach. We know he has a Fanatic of the 4 mana Fanatic. Fanatic of, yeah. The red Fanatic.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I got some Coke burps over here.
When did you wake up this morning?
About 4 o'clock this evening.
Oh, 4 o'clock this evening. Okay. I was gonna ask how you still awake.
No,
It's okay,
I
I
don't.
got up at 2.
I don't work, so
Oh yeah, how's your leg?
it's still very painful. Jordan not attacking, just adding to his board with a Cerberus, which is going to shock Chris for 2.
Man, whip is so good.
Chris going to whip back something. So negates the shock and gains 2 life, all the meanwhile chipping ever so slowly at Jordan's life. But now,
I have no idea what that is.
that is the ogre that has Monstrous. It's a 4 mana 3/4, I think. And we're going to attack with our 6/5 Indestructible God. How's that sound?
Nutty.
Chris takes 2 from the creature entering the battlefield. He has the Chimera, the 1/5. Not not ideal, but I don't know if he can go down to a low life total against Jordan's deck. He can whip back a creature and gain 3 life next turn.
He only hit. How many creatures does he have?
He has the Disciple,
Phalanx.
and now a Triton Fortune Hunter, looks like. No, that's not the Triton Fortune Hunter. I don't know what that card is.
It's is it the Wave Crash?
I don't think that's a Triton whatsoever.
Is it not?
Anyway, it had 2 power and it gains 2 life. Still left with a 1/5 and a whip. And we're going to put the weight of the Underworld on the Cerberus, giving it -3, -2. More importantly, knocking 2 red pips off that Perforos. So Jordan, empty-handed, going to have to find another 2 devotion to turn that Perforos back on. As it stands right now, he can monstrous this guy. I think that turns him into a 5 power guy. And then attack with his 2/2. So we vomit that guy up. We need to make sure that Chris eventually exiles that card. He did.
Card. It is a red card.
That is a 1 mana 1/1 or a 2 mana 1/1. If it's the 2 mana 1/1 with haste, I think it's the 2 mana 1/1 with haste, and then
So
can obviously get
is he
+1/+0
thinking
from.
of using his mana for pumping, or
Yeah.
doing monstrosity, or just playing a creature?
Well, playing a 1/1, even if you can pop it into Chris's 1/5, I don't think is a winning proposition. So we're going to attack with our 3/4 that can monstrous and probably take out this Coastline Chimera. And that's what we're doing. Gets 3/+1. Chris does gain 1 life. Tell them that Chris gains 1 life from lifelink.
He did.
Okay.
Did he not?
No.
Sure.
Uh,
I think I saw his
no,
name.
that has trample. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, I saw him mess with the life totals.
It's a flyer that scries 2, looks like. But again, we're in a situation where Jordan needs 1 red devotion to turn this Perforos back on. Even if he doesn't get it, he can pump off his dude for +2/+0 this turn. Chris hanging on to this very aggressive draw by Jordan, but in no means has stabilized the board.
Looks like a... Maybe not on that swing, but Chris's hand motions. That will take a lot.
So we activated our Perforos twice. The total net life change on Chris is going to be -4, dropping him down to 7. More importantly, leaving him with no permanents on board except for this Whip of Erebos. And Jordan with 7 power worth of dudes that he can pump up to 11 next turn. So Chris going to need to gain 5 life or have a way to deal with Jordan's board as it stands. And I think, I don't know what Jordan drew, but if you're Chris, if I'm sitting in Chris's position, I have to think that this is a spell that Jordan drew. Because if it's a land, Jordan would have played it.
Maybe.
In my mind, like this is what I would think.
Yeah, there'd be no reason not to play the land, because then if you
If you top deck another land,
right.
you get to pump for 3 times.
So yeah.
Now, Jordan could have just missed this and have a land in his hand,
There's no reason to bluff it.
but I think
What's he
that
gonna bluff for one reason? Yeah, it's a spell.
I think that has to be a spell.
He
So
had better stuff to do with his mana. I don't want to play against that deck.
I don't want to play against either of these decks. Chris's deck is very, very good.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay,
Disciple.
that's 6 mana, gain 3 life.
That is the target creature you control gains tap, bounce. You can tap one of your creatures you control to bounce a creature.
Oh, gosh.
So Chris just using that as a pseudo removal spell to reset, and that's a game. This is the tribute guy. It enters the battlefield, so Chris is gonna take 2 off Perforos. And did Jordan not attack? Is this creature not able to attack? I don't know what that creature is then. So Chris not able to pay the tribute for that guy, because the tribute, if you don't want to get in 2+1/+1 counters, is take 5 damage.
Let's think about how that's good right now.
So Jordan getting a 5-mana 5/5. Chris Booth playing the Perplexing Chimera. This card's very fun. This Perplexing Chimera, you can give an opponent control of it to gain control of a spell that they have. So like if Jordan Lash of Whips this Perplexing Chimera, Chris can give him that, and then he gets control of Lash of the Whip and can choose new targets. Very fun, neat card.
I've had a lot of fun playing this limited so far.
So we're going to attack with our life-linking
A lot
flyer.
of fun interactions like that.
Going to swing the life totals by 4, total of 8, both ways. Jordan has a 5-power dude in play. Chris, he's finally whittled Chris's hand down. Chris owes off his devotion to Erebos next round, because this whip has saved his butt. Time in the round has been called. So Jordan turns 0 here.
Please draw.
Well, you have to.
Please draw.
No, you don't have to. Chunk. I don't know what that creature is that we're not attacking with.
I don't know the art well enough to know, so...
Maybe it's like a Mog Flunkies type of effect. If anyone in the chat knows.
Maybe it's,
Something that can't attack or block alone.
an enchantment. Is it...
Jordan also got to be very careful. He's 8 against a deck
No, he's
that...
actually 21. Yeah, he's 8 against...
Chris's deck that has Whip in play.
Right.
So there's another Cyclops. Chris just going to chump out the 5/5, gain 3 life, go up to 12. And I'm assuming attack with it this turn. I don't know what's going on in the chat. We'll deal with that later. Whip back the Perplexing guy. Attack for 3. Looks like we caught ourselves up on a Perforos trigger. So Jordan not going to care about this 3/3 lifelinker attacking him. And there's another one of those flyers. We don't know what it is.
Turn 3.
Looks like a seagull. No, Jordan was turn 0, so now Jordan's turn 2. Jordan currently has 3 activations of his Perforos available. And if that's a 3/2 flyer, which means that if Chris has a 2-power creature in his graveyard, Jordan has to chump next turn. Or leave back his big beaters.
A very swingy game. Let's see what Jordan wants to do. Oh, he's attacking with that. What is that? Like,
I don't know why I didn't attack with
no
it the
idea
last
what
couple
that
turns.
is. Any cards in hand? No, pump all the way.
I think that's a 2-mana 1/1 flying haste.
So he's taking a lot.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're letting them figure this out as there's unknown cards on the field and a Perforos.
Took 6. Wait, he took 6. Oh, I guess the lifelink negated part of it. Yep. I was gonna say, because pumps, that was 6 damage alone.
So turn 3 here.
What do you rip?
Chris can drop him down to 2 this turn.
Freakish Cure.
So,
Flashback.
oh man, how good would it be to have Boon of Erebus here?
Pretty good.
Whip back my guy, boon it for the win.
Boon it. Booth is booning it.
Whip
Boon
it.
Boon it.
Nah.
Oh, well. And Freakish Cure.
Freakish Care targeting a player
Nope.
with a judge standing on your shoulder.
No, it's just sack.
Mountain you.
Good game. Jordan wins. He's 2-0. I don't want to play him.
I don't know if Jordan won that or not.
Maybe not.
Ask them. So what was the result of that match?
I was like, already heard.
Jordan did.